Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Henry Invisible. Very excited to be here tonight. Let's get rocking a little bit. Yeah. All right. Uh-huh. Bounce, baby, bounce, baby. Bounce, baby, bounce, baby. I just got to know, baby. Do you wanna bounce together? I just got to know, baby. Do you wanna bounce together? Now if the time is so, maybe we could roll and do the thing. Now if the time is so, maybe we could roll and do the thing. I wanna take around the world. Come on now, let's bounce together. Anywhere you wanna go, you just gotta let me know it's you and I. Gonna bounce forever. Let me tell you something. Now, the time is so, maybe we could roll and do the thing. Now, if the time is so, maybe we could roll and do the thing. I wanna bounce, baby. On let's bounce. I wanna bounce, baby. On let's bounce. I just got to bounce. Come on, baby, bounce. I wanna bounce with you, baby. On let's bounce. All night. Tell you the world I wanna see. You're everywhere I wanna be. Tell you my dreams is coming true. My bounce with you.
Hi, I'm Rich Gergasco, President and CEO of Texas Mutual Insurance Company. Texas Mutual is the state's leading provider of workers' compensation insurance. We have almost 1,000 employees across the state who are committed to meeting the needs of the 70,000 business owners who rely on us every day to take care of their 1.5 million workers. Safety and injury prevention are an important part of what we do. In the unfortunate event that a worker gets injured on the job, we're here to help get them back to work and back to their life. Texas Mutual insures employers of all sizes in a variety of industries. Those employers tell us that recruiting and retaining talent is a major business challenge. We believe that investments in workforce development help meet their needs, which is why we fund programs across the state to help train and upskill workers, including Workforce Solutions Capital Area right here in Austin. Workforce Solutions Capital Area provides services to veterans, first responders, people with disabilities, and people without housing. In 2020, Workforce Solutions served more than 6,000 children to provide them hope during the pandemic. They also supported almost 4,000 local businesses last year with services to help them train, upskill, and recruit workers. In 2018, Texas Mutual provided our first grant to Workforce Solutions Capital Area. The grant supported work in the skilled trades and manufacturing sectors. Since then, we've continued our partnership as the organization is a leader in growing our economy and helping those in need. We encourage other businesses to join us in the effort to help local businesses and the local talent pool. Please consider supporting Workforce Solutions Capital Area in a way that makes sense for you. When organizations work together for a common cause, we can make a difference in the lives of our local workforce and build a stronger, safer Austin.
All right. Hello, I'm your director today. My name is Troy Knowles. If I had an applause button, I'd give myself some applause, but I don't. But hey, I just want to welcome you in today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this new platform for you to engage and enjoy today's Hire Local Summit. You can chat, right? So go over in the chat, use your emojis. You know, that's how we talking nowadays with your fire and thumbs up, and just give your entertainers and everyone thumbs up. So here we go. So feel free to show some love. In a few minutes, we're going to invite hundreds of people into some attendee lounges. And right now, for a few moments, put your name and your organization in the chat. All right. So here we go. Let the Hire Local Summit begin.
Workforce Solutions services include job skills training for adults, critical childcare services for working parents, and school-based career planning services so that young people are given every opportunity to succeed in life. We believe in higher opportunities for everyone, higher returns on local and workforce investments, higher earning potential for those living in our community, higher rewards for those who have invested their lives and trust in the capital area and want to stay and contribute here, and higher confidence for employers who need ready and qualified workers to meet their needs for future growth. Last year alone, 16,292 Travis County residents were directly supported by Workforce Solutions Capital Area. That indirectly provides higher opportunities for 41,927 family members and 17,698 children. We are results oriented. Workforce Solutions achieved a 93% employment rate for laid off workers seeking employment and a 92% employment retention for families participating in our child care program. This afternoon, you will hear from some of our community's most effective supporters of job training and education. we can show you how workforce efforts are paying off and bring some local business leaders to talk about the challenges and opportunities ahead for employers and job seekers in Austin. And to help keep things moving along, I'm pleased to welcome our program MC and my friend, Pflugerville City Council member Rudy Mateer.
Hey, Melanie. Thanks for having me here today. I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited to go ahead and not only hear some of the things that we're having from the program, but also from the participants, because we know very well that, it's from the community where we get a lot of our great ideas and efforts all around. Now, this whole idea regarding higher local effort, even higher, that makes perfect sense to me. As you just said before, Workforce Solutions has done a phenomenal job doing that here in our community, and we're going to kick it up even another notch in what we're doing. Now, I pulled a couple of strings behind the scenes, and there's going to be a special announcement happening at the end of our program by some really important people. And personally, I like to say, I think I had something to do with that.
Oh, you did?
Well, I said I think I had something to do with that. You've got to let someone dream, okay? So, okay, maybe I didn't really have anything specific to do about that, but it's still going to be really great. And speaking of great, what is that I see? Look up in the sky. Is that a bird, a plane, a balloon? The Longhorns scored another touchdown on Texas Tech? No, that's Judge Andy Brown. What are you doing up there, Judge?
Whoa, Hattie, you ever been in a hot air balloon before? Me neither. Well, look down there. You can see our house. I think it's way over there. There's some dogs and cats over there. And some birds flying around. Oh, hey, down there. Melanie and Rudy, you wouldn't believe what we can see up here this high. There's higher opportunities all around and for everyone. This city and this county is growing faster than ever. I see a more robust network of childcare providers throughout the city, thanks to $4.3 million in enhanced reimbursement funds distributed by Workforce Solutions. And Hattie, I also see the results of over $3 million in local funding, granted by the city and by Travis County, invested in rapid training for laid-off workers during the pandemic. And in our schools, Hattie, I see more than 23,000 students from 5 regional school districts supported with career programs and post-secondary education options. And Hattie, this view reminds me of why Travis County continues to support Workforce Solutions and their work to empower people in this new economy. But you know what, Hattie? Over there, I also see some challenges on the horizon. Can you see those? Can you see the challenges? Locally, we still have 876,900 unemployed persons in all of Texas. So that's basically 1/10 of the total unemployment or unemployed people in the US. And here in the Austin MSA, we're looking pretty good with 4.2% unemployment rate. But across Texas, we've still got 6.2% unemployed. So we lag behind the total US unemployment rate of 5.4%. And Hattie, that puts us behind a few states: Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Florida, and even Ohio. Many unemployed workers across Texas are looking to Austin as a soaring example, not just as a jobs creator, but also as a model of how a community can come together to upskill workers, assist employers, and support working families. I look over this amazing view of the city and the county, and I see major corporations and employers such as Tesla. You went there one time to see all the cranes. Apple, Samsung, and others bringing billions of dollars of new investment to our city. Even Del Valley ISD is one of those employers. We know there is work to ensure that new jobs are created for residents to have career opportunities, including those who are currently unemployed. We must create new strategies to raise hope and expectations for everyone here in Austin and in Travis County and in the surrounding areas. And that's why the new phase of the Community Workforce Plan and the ideas and strategies that come out of it are so critical to our community. Balloon's getting a little unsteady, Hattie. You hanging on okay? Now you're gonna have to excuse me because I see some commotion down below. Hey, what are you up to down there?
Hey, whoa up there, Space Cowboy. You need to come on back down here to Earth so we can roll up our sleeves. We've got some work to do together. Our Texas unemployment rate dropped again in July to 6.2%, And we've added 714,800 non-farm jobs since last year. Texas has added 80,900 jobs in July. And as far as I can see, even down here on the ground, all of that's good news for Texas workers because it strengthens our economy and creates opportunities for rewarding careers. In the Austin area, we have more than 1.1 million employed people, and we've added 77,200 jobs just this year alone. Workforce Solutions Capital Area is helping prepare job seekers for these new jobs. All those programs are working for all Texans. In just the past year, Workforce Solutions Capital Area served 13,208 adults through their programs. And that included 684 persons with a disability, 1,273 ex-offenders looking for a restart, 635 veterans transitioning to the civilian workforce, 63 foster youth at a critical stage in their beginning adulthood, 493 persons experiencing homelessness, and 9,181 persons claiming unemployment benefits before participating in jobs training. 78% of participants found employment in their field of training after engaging with Workforce Solutions. So no matter your viewpoint, whether you're at 30,000 feet or right here on terra firma, the key is work together. The good news is that Workforce Solutions Capital Area is our local connection to local workers and local opportunities. And from where I stand, well, that's good for Austin and it's good for Texas.
Boy, how about those two? Having a higher perspective and working from the ground level together makes our region stronger. And that seems to be the most effective model when it comes to any sort of workforce plan. We need to have a bird's eye view and look at the horizon and make some flight plans for where we're going and make sure our destination is safely and done with everybody on board. At the same time, though, our plans need to be grounded in pragmatic ways and ready to go right now, because we know there are people who need help and equal and equitable opportunities across our region. So let's begin this discussion by asking our community and participants, what do you want to see these funds and these efforts focused on? Or put another way, what should be the capital area's top workforce priority for 2022? You can send your answer right now or throughout this program. I see some of you guys are already chatting right now, so share your ideas. We're going to give you a couple of moments to discuss your thoughts and perspectives with your fellow summit attendees. After all, let's be honest here. If you were here right now live and in person, you'd be at your tables right now whispering one another saying, hey, so why not let's make that a reality for everybody involved. In a moment, each of you will be sent to a lounge with your fellow participants for 7 minutes. Introduce yourselves. I mean, it's always polite. We live in Texas. You want to say hi. But make sure that you get a chance to make sure you share your thoughts and your ideas and perspectives about the question that I just asked. And we'll provide a few more questions on the screen to spur your discussion. Knowing each and every one of you, though, and how you guys are, I have a feeling you won't need too much spurring on in what you're doing. So as we're waiting to go ahead and make sure we get the lounge open with those things, some of the things that I know I come across is what I've seen in our community, which we're seeing that small local businesses looking at those redevelopment skills. I mean, what's been great about having the leadership, if you heard from Melanie, regarding here with Workforce Solutions, workforce plans here in Central Texas, is that we have a focus to make sure that we give the strong, pragmatic skills that people need right now with the businesses that are coming here. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people around this country who are thinking right now that they want to be Austin. They want to be our region. They want to see what Texas is doing right and make sure they're able to do the same thing in what they're doing. Our thoughts, our ideas is to make sure that we're able to go ahead and keep moving forward those concepts and concerns, make sure that's a reality for them, and making sure that when we're doing this right, it's a benefit to all the community. So right now, I want to make sure each and every one of you, you got your prompt. Please go to the lounge, start this discussion, have these conversations, bring back great ideas. We're interested for you guys to hear not just from what we have to say, but what each and every one of you have to bring.
How's everybody doing out there? I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Workforce Solutions during the COVID-19 lockdown. As every community was affected, certainly the live music community was, and they really helped to help out the live music scene and support and give us online gigs and that kind of thing. And so I just wanted to say thank you very much, yo. My name is Henry Invisible. Let's keep rocking, man. Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Welcome back. Did you guys share some great career highlights? I was just talking to Tamara the other day about my upskilling in 2022. I think I'm going to focus on, agile management. I mean, I do Camp Gladiator. I'm able to go ahead and be at, wait, you're telling me this has nothing to do with physical abilities? But I'm good at burpees. Okay, well, we'll talk about that. We'll figure that out later. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it? What needs and what skills and upskilling we need for our workforce now here in our region. And make sure that if you have anybody in mind who's looking at those kind of things, looking at upskilling, they contact Workforce Solutions. Let's be honest. They have plenty of resources and they've been supporting a lot of our businesses here in the region for a long, long time. And not just making sure that those folks in these businesses, these communities do well, that they thrive. We'll learn a lot more about what's going on here at this special place later on today. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to move aside because the mayor himself, Steve Adler's here. Meanwhile, I'm going to check and see if I can catch a ride on that pretty sweet balloon ride and maybe get the clothes that Andy was wearing too. That's pretty sweet as well. I'll be right back.
Good afternoon. I am clearly not our mayor. Unfortunately, the mayor could not be with us today. He apologized for not being present. He had a hamstring injury that resulted in a minor surgery. My name is Veronica Briceño. I'm the Chief Economic Recovery Officer for the City of Austin. I am thrilled to be here with you today. On behalf of the mayor, I did want to share some words with you. I'm grateful to be here, as I'd mentioned. With so many positive economic trends in the news, it is important to remember that not everyone benefits from the growth and opportunity that has blessed our city. It's happening here in Austin, where unemployment is highest among younger people ages 16 to 24 at almost 11%. This percentage is based on people who want and need to be employed. And the disparity continues as these new workers mature in the workforce. The unemployment rate for Austinites in the 25 to 34-year-old bracket is almost 4%, highlighting the critical need for educational opportunities and job skills training for our future workforce. Some of these jobless residents are parents, proving that overcoming these challenges will create positive change at a generational level. Did you know that as of July, Austin has the lowest unemployment rate among the top 25 largest U.S. cities? Distressingly, though, unemployment hits some of our residents harder than others. Amid our local job growth, Black unemployment is on average 7%. Latino unemployment is almost 5% compared to a 4% rate for white workers. Educational opportunities are critical for the workers of Austin. Locally, the unemployment rate for those with a high school diploma is at 5.5%, and nearly 9% for those without a high school diploma. The rate drops to 3.6% with just some college or an associate degree, and down to 3.2% from a bachelor's degree or higher. Problems associated with unemployment, such as homelessness, hunger, and inadequate health care, can be relieved without further straining our city's resources. We still have work to do because Austin is on a fast track, and we can't let anyone slip behind. Indeed, we see job growth in all sectors, including healthcare, manufacturing, skills trades, and high tech, all of which depend on skill levels that usually require higher educations or specialized skills training. Job growth means more opportunities. The best job opportunities are for people with skills. Workforce Solutions prepares workers with skills. Workforce Solutions helped provide $1.2 million in grants and funding for upskilling efforts in Central Texas last year. In addition to the upskilling numbers, Workforce Solutions has funded $2.6 million in training since October 2020. Of course, we continue to see segments of our community, such as restaurants and hospitality, schools, and healthcare providers, struggle with the ups and downs caused by this pandemic. Workforce Solutions has responded to the pandemic restrictions in imaginative ways, such as partnering with Austin businesses and providing outreach to residents. Throughout the past year, they have helped with navigating layoffs, connection to new career and training opportunities, and matching the workforce with qualified local talented. Version 1.0 of the Community Workforce Plan has been a shining example of a community rallying its resources across all sectors in a time of challenge and opportunity. Here are some of the highlights of the soon-to-be released Community Workforce Plan evaluation. Despite the worst labor market in years due to COVID, last year's workforce program participants outperformed year 2 on completion, increased the number of people moved out of poverty, and continued to increase median earnings year after year for participants. We still have work to do, but these successes signal resilience among our workers and industry partners. It is time to refresh and renew the Community Workforce Plan, and I am grateful for your interest and involvement in this process and reinvention. I continue to support a common agenda for our community tied to equitable economic recovery. It's one of the tools for keeping Austin affordable. There are 3 ways you can provide support to Workforce Solutions. Number 1, spread the word about skills training, especially for those out of work. Skills are at a premium, and workers earn what they learn. 2, hire from local education programs. When you hire locally, opportunities are higher all around. And 3, grow your company's talent from within, invest in skills training, and know that Workforce Solutions has resources to help. Thank you for having me today, and I look forward to the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Veronica, for that great insight and stepping in for Mayor Adler. I recall back in 2007 or 2017 when we went ahead and announced this whole community workforce plan together. And, I thought to myself, wow, this is going to bring a lot of different ideas and concepts together as a region, something that often we talk about doing, but realistically speaking, we don't really do. And the reason why this came to fruition and the reason why we're here today is because of the leadership of one certain person. A person who I highly respect as a friend and colleague, and also a boss and a variety of different things. When she tells me to jump, I just say, how high? Her name is Tamara Ackerson. And, Tamara's going to come up here and talk more about the workforce plan and what we had ideas for it and what's come up from that. Additionally speaking, when Tamara comes up, you're going to think to yourself, wow, I think she is as tall as Rudy. But let me check this out. This is me. This is Tamara. Tamara, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Rudy. And as a female leader in this community, it's great to be able to step up and lead on behalf of Workforce Development. Hi, everyone. I am so happy that you are here with us today to celebrate our community workforce plan. This is a great time, as Rudy said, to pause and reflect on how far we've come since we launched our first plan in 2017. And I wanted to share with you that this journey is personal for me. Allow me to tell you a brief story. Recently, my family and I celebrated the life of my beloved grandmother. She was a very smart, willful, focused woman who believed in education. She graduated from high school at the age of 16, and at the age of 17, she was teaching in a one-room schoolhouse to students who in many cases were older than her and bigger than her. My grandmother taught me and my family the value of education to change lives. In fact, my grandmother's dedication to education changed her trajectory, changed my family's earning potential, and ultimately allowed me to be here with you today. And really, that's what I'm passionate about, translating education into skills, into jobs that are in demand in this community. That's what Workforce Solutions is about as well. And that is what our community workforce plan is about. So allow me to tell you a little bit about what we've achieved since we launched the plan in 2017. A couple numbers for you. First, $317 million. That's increased earnings from workers and participants in our community in the last 5 years. $103 million. That's the wage differential between people, what they earned after they exited the programs, the increased income. That's money in our community in people's hands. 9,807. That's the average individual earning of workers and participants in our community as a result of all of you, Workforce Solutions in our community workforce plan. But it hasn't been easy, and the last 18 months have been particularly difficult. I'd like to give you 3 examples among many of ways that our partner organizations have really worked to step up and meet the needs of Hire All Around for our community. First, our friends at American Youth Works. So proud of the way American Youth Works brought together a community of practice to understand COVID-safe protocols so that participants could get to work sites, to build homes for the unsheltered, as well as provide emergency house assistance, house repair assistance rather, for their communities. In many cases, American Youth Works clients were working in the same communities where they lived. Additionally, during COVID, American Youth Works launched, in cooperation with the City of Austin, the Austin Civilian Conservation Corps, to address climate change by helping our parks become more habitable. Thank you, American Youth Works. Next, I'd like to call out Skill Point Alliance. Skill Point Alliance was on the verge of launching their pre-apprentice program in electrical and plumbing. Then COVID hit, they weren't able to deliver the programming in person. So what did they do? They got creative. They put together home kits for the students to take home the information, take home the material, take home the tools, and then under the virtual watch of instructors at Skill Point Alliance, the students were able to still gain those construction skills that are in demand. Last but not least, in my examples, I'd like to call out an employer in our region, Baylor Scott & White. Baylor Scott & White has an apprenticeship program for medical assistants, and in partnership with Austin Community College as the education partner, Baylor Scott & White was able to offer both virtual and in-person earn and learn opportunities so that to date, 39 individuals have been able to upskill on the job, earn higher wages, and contribute back into our critical healthcare industry. So what's ahead for the Community Workforce Plan? What can you expect in our new Hire Local Plan? Well, there are 3 things I'd love for you to know. 1, when we launch this plan in January 2022, we will be measuring the region's capacity for increased outcomes in our talent pipeline. That's really important as we work with economic development and business to continue to help companies expand and grow here in this community. 2, every organization that partners with us will be able to define low income as it is appropriate for that organization's mission. That will allow our community to serve the needs of our community. And last but not least, Workforce Solutions is concerned about affordability, and we want all Austin residents to be able to grow their families and thrive here in this community. So we will be measuring earning thresholds along a continuum so that we can take into account how financially stable our neighbors are, as well as measure wealth generation through home ownership and housing affordability. So I have a request for you. If you look above my head, you should see a tab that says the Hire Local Plan. Do you see it up there? If you click on that, you will see a microsite that lists our Community Workforce Plan, the next version. It's still draft. Why is it still draft? Because we want your input. We want you to tell us what we got right and maybe something we may have overlooked so that we can launch the best plan possible in January 2022. So I'd like to pause and thank all of our partners. I could have spent this entire program just thanking all the organizations, all the educators, all the business leaders from across our community. But alas, you're in luck. You don't have to listen to me do that today. I do want to note, though, that today I've been able to talk about employers and how critical they are, educators and how critical educators are, but there's a third leg of that 3-leg stool, and that's economic development. Our business leaders' economic development are critical for our work. And it is with that I would love to introduce my friend and colleague, the President and CEO of the Austin Chamber of Commerce, Laura Huffman. Laura?
It's good to see you. What a great gathering you've put together here. Sharonda and Troy and the whole squad over at Adisa Communications, thank you for making an online experience just a little bit more enjoyable. I appreciate that. And And Tamara, let me say to you and to everyone at Workforce Solutions and to the board, just how grateful I am that we are able to work with you all every day that we're working on economic development or quality of life or some community issue. The thing that comes up over and over again is the talent that we have in this community. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm going to jump right into it. We've got about a half an hour, and we've got a really great group of folks to give you some pretty specific insight into what's going on out there in Austin today. So let me invite into the room Joe Cooper, Geronimo Rodriguez, Sharon Mays, and Clara Neary. It's magic. There you go again, Sharonda, making it all happen. Okay, so, and here, let's start this way. Sharon, I'm going to start with you because you're to the right of me. And I'm going to go around the horn and have you guys introduce yourselves, talk a little bit, just if you could briefly say where you work and what you do. And then I've got a series of questions that I'm going to ask you. And then we are going to give our audience a chance to ask some questions. Tamara, I know that you've got a lot of statistics that will underpin some of the questions and even some of the answers that we hear. So I want to make sure that I give you some room. And then let me say this to the audience. I am looking at the poll results, and awareness and enrollment is at 19%. And so here's one thing that you can do to create awareness right now. Use the hashtag hire local ATX. And let's get some buzz going on in this community about what we're up to today. That is, it goes a long way to start getting the word out. Use that hashtag hire local ATX, tag your own business, tag Workforce Solutions, tag the city of Austin, tag Seton, tag Baby Greens, tag us all, and let's get some attention going. So introduce yourself real quick so everybody knows who you are. You're going to have to unmute. Nope. Not quite.
Thank you, Laura. I really appreciate you facilitating
It's definitely my mic is on.
this conversation for us.
You did it.
You can hear me?
Good job.
So my name is Sharon Mays. I'm the founder and CEO of Baby Greens. Baby Greens is a locally owned fast food restaurant. We focus on serving salads and wraps to go. There is a meat version and vegetarian version of every single thing that we serve on our menu. And what I do there is all the things.
And if you have not been to Baby Greens, get thee there immediately. It is awesome. Joe Cooper, introduce yourself to us.
Sure. My name is Joe Cooper. I'm the training director for the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 286 here in Austin, Texas. I'm here in the capacity of MC3, which is the Building Trades Multi-Craft Core Curriculum today. And Sharonda or somebody told me there was going to be a virtual background, or you wouldn't have seen my desk like this behind me. Y'all lied to me.
Actually, what you should have said is that is the virtual background of a guy that's overworked. Thanks for being here. Clara, introduce yourself to us so the audience knows who you are. And you, unfortunately, are on mute also. Nope, not quite. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you should see both the little icon, and you might want to push the volume out to the right. And I am no IT, so if somebody else has a suggestion.
Can you click on the mic? Did it go green?
I had to click mine off and then on. It was on. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you might try it on your keyboard. Again, not my bailiwick.
Laura, I'm really glad we're having this conversation today. We are having unprecedented times out there in the hiring environment. Laura, I'd love to know what you're seeing. What we're seeing in Workforce Solutions is we've got a lot more job openings than we have workers. I don't imagine that's impacting our business leaders in ways that they probably didn't see coming a year ago.
Yes. What we're seeing is just tremendous, unprecedented job growth. The reason Austin is such an attractive place to be is because we've got so much talent. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we are hiring locally so that our kids and our neighbors and our friends have first shot at all of these great jobs that are being produced. And whatever it takes, whether that's upskilling, certifications, community college degrees, higher education. I view it as our job to make the connections so that our folks can get those jobs first. Geronimo, while we're doing mic check with Clara, introduce yourself to the gang.
Sure. Good afternoon. Geronimo Rodriguez. I serve as the Chief Advocacy Officer for Ascension, Texas. And both advocacy and workforce development, diversity, and inclusion report up to me. And so I'm really happy to be here.
It's always good to see you. Thank you. All right, Clara, how are we doing on sound now? Clara, can you hear me? Woo. Okay, I'm going to get started with the panel, and I promise I will pull Clara in as soon as we solve the technical problems. But let's get it rolling so we deliver some nice content to the audience. So you know what I'm going to do? I would like to start with Sharon. And the reason I'm going to start with you is because A of all, I love your restaurant, and B of all, I think it's really important that we take a minute and recognize that even though both Tamara and I said what a healthy, growing economy we have, there was very definitely a sector that suffered first and worst in our community when the global pandemic hit, and that was everything having to do with restaurants, entertainment, tourism. And so, Sharon, why don't you give us your perspective as a restaurant owner? What's going on in your business? How is the economy of this growing economy affecting you? What are you seeing from a workforce standpoint? And then I'm going to give you a really nice opportunity, which is, what would your call to action to this group be?
Well, I would say that, like most people in the hospitality industry, we are incredibly short staffed. We were short staffed going into the pandemic. And the irony was, pre pandemic, we were having a hard time hiring people because there were so many restaurants that the labor pool was spread so thin. And so now, as we're seeing a reverse situation, and the restaurant industry is also, hospitality industry is also just going through some things where you have a lot of people who've left this industry because of a lot of negative things that have been unfortunately associated with the hospitality industry. So I think from my business, on the one hand, we've been fortunate in that paying workers well, treating people well, having a great environment is a huge priority for me. When I reopened Baby Greens, one of my number one priorities was to be an employer of choice. And it's funny that when I said that as a local business owner and a local restaurateur, a lot of people looked at me like I was crazy. Like, why is that your big priority? But that's what my job is. I'm an employer. And so I feel like for this industry, we're going through a lot of things, and I don't think we're even halfway through them because it's a lot. There's a lot of things happening here. So I would say the thing that this industry needs is, from my perspective, my restaurant is a fast food restaurant. And so in the grander scheme of restaurants, we're kind of like at the lower end of the totem pole as far as like job vacancy, and Baby Greens is a great place to work. And so the thing that I think that as an employer community, just in people attached to the workforce industry, is to say that I really feel like there needs to be a shift in the way that we talk about jobs. Baby Greens is a great place to work. When people say, "Where do you work?" and they say Baby Greens, the reaction is always, "I love it there. It's my favorite place. So why can't employees be proud to be a part of this place?" They're not just fast food workers. They're part of a company that is well loved and respected in this community. And I think that there's dignity in that. And so that's the thing I feel like we need to also include in this conversation, is how do we value hourly employees so that they know that their contribution is big. It doesn't matter if they are just a cashier. They're a part of the industry. They're a part of why we're successful.
I love that answer. The other thing that I would point out, and Tamara, I think you've probably heard this too. I'll ask this of all the panelists here in a minute, but the idea that people who are looking for jobs, job seekers, are shopping culture. And I love that you talk about the idea that people should take pride in the place that they work. Joe, I'm going to turn to you, and I'm super interested in knowing from your perspective I think most people that are listening to this understand the traditional role of labor unions. What's the same? What's different? And what are the big issues that you see as urgent and outstanding in our community?
Sure. Basically, the unions we're still facing the same issues we've always faced. The rising cost of healthcare, childcare for everybody, and getting in and out of downtown Austin. The same things that's still occurring that are faced. Employees are facing, workers are facing, labor unions are facing the same thing. We're in a better place now. For a long time, there was a lot of animosity towards unions. It seems to be shifting back a little bit. We were fortunate and blessed with our contractor partners, the multi-employers, that we were able to spread the cost of those across more people, more employers. We're able to share that cost to include and get the number down for our members. So that's the one advantage we had going into all of this stuff. It seemed to be that helped us a little bit more.
If you could get every employer in Austin to do one thing, what would it be?
Besides signing with me, if I could get every employer in town, tell them exactly what they're looking for, so that we're not stealing from each other. Tell them what industry has to offer, what this means, so that the expectation right now, employees can work anywhere they want. To Baby Green's point earlier, let's be happy about where we're working, and we want them to stay. That helps employers for retention. That helps. They're on the track to get promoted. That's what we want. That's what every employer wants. That's what everyone wants. Go to work and enjoy what you do for a living. That's what we want. So if we put that information out there, we show them that the training that's available for the different people, different industries, then it's just they go to work and have a good time. And that's it.
Look, isn't that what we all want for ourselves and for our families? So, Claire, can you hear me now? Let's do a mic check. Can I hear you? Will you say your name?
Can you hear me now?
We're in, baby. Okay. So you represent a large employer in town. Clara works for Applied Materials. I'm going to jump right in and ask you the question. What have you seen in sort of a mid to post, beginning of the post-COVID world? Are we seeing the great migration of workers? And what do you find that it takes to attract and retain workers? And how focused are you on retention given this migration we're seeing right now?
Wonderful. No, thank you for that question. So I actually work in the onboarding team. And so we actually get individuals that we onboard and train to be able to do the jobs that we do. So with the pandemic, with the whole COVID situation, we were still essential. And so we never stopped working. So most of our manufacturing facilities were open and running, and everybody was still there. We did lose individuals, but it was mainly because of the fear of the virus for a really long time. Although there was no transfer from employee to employee on site, just because the way the clean room is set up. So we manufacture equipment that our customers use to make computer chips. So our customers are the Samsungs of the world and the Intels of the world, right? And so most of our facilities are what we call clean room, which means that we have like a shower of air constantly being on our body. And we always have masks and gloves, and we're fully clothed just to make sure that we don't contaminate the equipment. So that, again, we're just always been protected, always been covered. But we still saw some people leave because of the pandemic. They were afraid to show up to work, or, another thing was care for kids, right? So moms, we saw a great exodus of some moms that had to leave the workplace because their kids were not in school, or childcare wasn't available. So we saw people leave for that, but not necessarily because of the job itself. And outside of that, we are starting to see a little bit more turnover. But I think it's because Austin has become this hub of opportunity, right? So before, maybe working in manufacturing, making work was okay, but now they're starting to leave us for more common household names, such as the Amazons of the world, and eventually the Teslas of the world. And I'm like, but we're behind everybody. We make all the chips that go into everything that you use. But I think we're still working on that, working from an ownership of who we are, taking pride in our work, and really doing that with our employees. But another differentiator for us is we try to upskill our current workforce to be able to make more money and move up within the company, so that they see manufacturing not only as a job that they go to day, but as a career path for future growth.
That's awesome. And Geronimo, I'm going to get you out of the green room onto the screen. You have so many different perspectives in this community. One, I think I can probably speak on behalf of everybody in thanking you and everybody at Ascension Seton that has worked their hearts out over the nearly last 2 years under just unbelievably stressful circumstances. And so thanks for what you do for this community on a whole variety of fronts. I think it'd be interesting just for people to hear your perspective on how things are going in the healthcare space right now, given the fact that we're on year 2 of a global pandemic. It does look like we're coming out of it, but we're not out of it yet. And then just based on everything and your passion for this community, what is important for us as a region to be thinking about and actually doing to support all levels of income, but in particular low income workers in our community?
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much. I think on behalf of Andy Davis, our CEO, thank you for sharing your thoughts and the support of our community. It's very inspiring and it's very inspiring to serve all of our frontline workers who have been out there serving our community, protecting them, providing healthcare services over this time period. I think one of the things I might share is that hiring local is really a vital part of our mission to not just to provide healthcare services, but to recognize every individual as a human being endowed with dignity, and therefore we're compelled to treat them with respect. And those vision and values are something we want to reflect the community that we serve in our workforce. And one of our strategies there is to leverage the power and influence of Ascension Texas by connecting our local community to high demand healthcare careers. At no other time do we need more individuals, and it's really important for us to invest in our local community. And we focus on pipelines of high turnover entry level jobs as pathways into careers that require 2 years of technical training or community college, that allows individuals and their families to afford to live in the communities that we're serving. We know that there are over 128,000 households that make less than $48,000 a year, and we know we want to do better in this region. And this aligns to our support for our care teams like medical assistants, nutrition services, child life specialists, pharmacy techs, sterile processing techs, and patient care technicians, just to name a few of the vital roles that are being played right now. And lastly, as our community continues to grow, so do the multitude of challenges of affordability, including our healthcare workforce, which is serving our community during this pandemic. And again, I really appreciate and I would encourage folks to thank our frontline workers for their services during this time.
That's great. So the themes that are kind of evolving here, which I think are really, it's just a nice spread, is one, it's in everyone's best interest if you're an employer and you're looking to attract workers in a highly competitive market to make your place a place of pride. And I heard that from all of the speakers. Two is there are some macro issues that we need to be paying attention to as a community, and affordability is one of those macro issues. And so let me do a lightning round with you guys, and then I want to open it up to questions. Well, first, Tamara, is there anything that you want to throw in here that I've missed or that you want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Laura. So I think if we can pop up on the screen
a chart that we've prepared to look at how wages have increased in our area and what that means in terms of affordability. So what we see over year is that across Texas, wages have increased by 5.4%, but here in the Austin area, we've had wages increase by 10%. In addition to that, we know that even with increasing wages, they're not increasing at the rate that we're seeing housing prices go up. So we've seen housing prices increase by 82% over the last 10 years. And so unfortunately for some of our residents, that puts home ownership out of their reach. That's why we believe that we want to help people get skills so they can get the better jobs so they can afford to stay in Austin. Back to you, Laura.
Adding emphasis to, there is a macro trend at work right now on the affordability front, which is that the rate of growth of wages is lower than the rate of growth of housing prices. That's true in Austin. It's also true nationally, by the way. But there are some things within our reach that would help chip away at that issue. And I think how this community talks about and deals with density is a big part of that solution. So before we go to audience questions, I'm going to start with you, Geronimo. Since the hashtag for this is Hire Local ATX, give us one piece of advice that you have that would allow us to achieve this goal, this dream, this aspiration, and then one problem that we've got to solve. And Geronimo, I'm going to start with you, and then Sharon, I'm going to go to you, and then Joe, and then Clara. So you guys can start getting your answers ready. Can you hear me, Geronimo?
Oh, I can barely hear you.
One piece of advice. Yeah. So we're just going to do a quick little lightning round before we open it up for Q&A. One piece of advice, since what Tamara and her folks are trying to do, and I know we've got lots of employers who would like to hire local ATX. What's one piece of advice for Workforce Solutions, and then just bigger picture, what's a community problem we got to solve in order to achieve this dream? Sharon, I'm going to move to you. If you heard the questions,
Sure. My advice and my hope are actually both the same. I want us as a community, as a hiring space, as an employer community, I want to do away with the notion of unskilled labor, because that's not a thing. Every job has dignity. Every task requires skill. And I say, let's stop using that language so that people of all backgrounds, of all skill sets, feel pride and value in the job that they are doing. And I think when we're talking about hiring people and casting a wide net, we have to invite people in a way that says, wherever you are, you have value, you have skill, and we want you on our team.
People would fall all over themselves if they felt like they were working for people who felt that way. Joe, what's your point of view on this? You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, sure can.
Okay. The thing that I've seen come out of this is we watched the healthcare providers come into the registered apprenticeship space and the other space where the building trades has been. One thing that I've seen that's worked for all of us is that industry has to be willing to train for everyone. Meaning that might be working for me today, next week they're going to be working for you. But we have to be willing to train for all the folks in our industry. That's the thing that I would take away that seems to be working the best. Things we need to address, of course, is just how do we get people into the city? If we can't drop the cost to live here, then where can we get them in to where they don't have to pay so much to park each day? If we can't address the housing, let's address the commute.
Love it. Love it. Clara, how about you? One piece of advice to achieve the dream of hire local ATX? And from your standpoint, is there any problem we got to solve in order to get there?
Okay, so one of the items that we had seen, traditionally we had, I'm going to say about 10 years ago, we used to have an abundance of, um, we had more supply than we had demand for labor. In today's market, we have a lot more demand than supply. And unfortunately, it does have to do a lot with cost of living here in Austin. And then also just some expectations that we have for some workers that come to us, right? So really, when we train people up from, they don't know what a wrench is or a screwdriver is, because we train them from everything. One of the things that I would say is just, that we have to start somewhere. And so we have to, maybe even the people that are coming out of high school and out of college, is that you may not be making six figures automatically, right? We have to work our way up and maybe get more bachelor's degrees or master's degrees or something like that. But I think one thing that would definitely help, for the community and even employers, is if we could provide a couple just more internship opportunities, or more opportunities for them to really see what we do at work, right? Because maybe they have this glorified vision of what it may be because that's what they saw on YouTube, or they'll just relate you to pretty much all the other industries. But just having more of those opportunities. I know in the past, Applied Materials has been able to leverage. There was a city program where they would send high school students to come and work at corporate, and they funded those programs. And so some of those programs would be fantastic. And even for ourselves, having individuals that want to come out and learn more about our company would be phenomenal, because we give them work experience that they can use on their resume to get somewhere else, and also to see if that's what they want to do for the rest of their life and be happy at work.
I love it. And I think the idea of internships and mentoring opportunities, I think there's a really golden opportunity here in Austin for that. Also, if you're listening to this, please remember to use the Q&A function. Geronimo, why don't you bring it home by giving your piece of advice and problem we got to solve?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to acknowledge, and this is happening in healthcare and in other places, the competing priorities between life and career advancement. But I think one of the biggest challenges, and then I'll just put in a duality. Well, one is, how do we fill the business needs and focus on equity in the workforce? So filling the business needs that we have, and also acknowledging the historical systemic racism that discriminated against persons of color in housing and education. And that is so important, I think. And for us, we're trying to elevate, I think we should elevate workforce development, diversity, inclusion efforts in so many different ways. And I think part of it is Workforce Solutions can close the gap by filling the business need. I think we in business have the responsibility and the accountability to turn the mirrors on ourselves and say, okay, how do we make sure we approach this in a way that's diverse, that's inclusive, that appreciates, that makes sure that people belong, and that is equitable? And I think for us, we have an example at Ascension Seton in our new Abide framework, which is about appreciation, belonging, inclusivity, diversity, and equity. But I think every organization has their own journey. And we happen to have one that's 120 years old in this community, and others have longer journeys or shorter journeys. But I think that is important for us to know what our role and our responsibility is in ensuring that we have a Workforce Solutions capital area that is phenomenally awesome in what they do and trying to address the business needs. I think that's the most important one.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So we've got a question from Dave Kloss, who's asking Joe. Joe, you're queued up on this one. A lot of folks are talking about expanding apprenticeships. And what do you think has made registered apprenticeships so successful in the skilled trades that other sectors could learn from?
There again, willing to train your competition's employees. That's it. It's gone well across the board because we're able to dispatch folks back and forth between contractors. It's the same skill set that's needed. The other thing is the inclusion. I mean, registered apprenticeship, you're tracking. We're talking about underutilized folks. You're tracking that from day immediately. And the thing that's nice about ours is each apprentice one gets this wage, apprentice two gets this wage. It doesn't matter whether it's gender, race, or anything. It doesn't matter. that's what that apprentice makes. So it's equality across the board. It has everything that addresses many of the needs that everybody's struggling for, I say the benefit to registered apprenticeship.
Thank you for that. And Tracy Hendricks is asking the question, what can schools do to make industry partnerships more valuable for businesses? And Geronimo, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to answer that one.
Yeah. Repeat that for me just one more time.
So Tracy's asking, what can schools do to make industry partnerships more valuable for businesses?
Well, first of all, it's a great question. I think that that's really a governance question. What can school board trustees and superintendents do? I think we ought to have high expectations for all kids and equity at the same time, because that high academic achievement is really important, because that'll drive the decisions of the board and the superintendent and of the schools to ensure that they do career projects. For example, partnerships with healthcare and IT and manufacturing around getting 2-year degrees with the community college. That is just so important to ensure that we do that. And I think, I'll give you one example of Austin ISD. We call ourselves early college high schools, and we have partnerships, and we love our partnerships with our businesses and our community college. Well, this year we reported 1.5% of all the kids that are in the early college programs are graduating with a degree in addition to the high school graduation. That's not acceptable. So we need to have, in terms of governance, high expectations of academic outcomes for every child to ensure that they thrive in college, career, and life. And that is just so important. And on a personal level, I was always put up as the exception to the rule. As a migrant farm worker, was the first one in my family to graduate from high school, college, and law school. And I think those days are over. I think the days of ensuring that kids that grew up like me, that have those barriers, are the rule and not the exception. It's high time that we ensure that we do inclusion and that we act on it, not just have words about it. But as you can tell, I have a little bit of passion around this topic.
Yeah, I'm aware. And thank God you do. So Sharon, Joe, Clara, Geronimo, thank you for giving everyone that's listening to this some insight from your standpoint. Really appreciate and value each and every one of you. And so what I'm going to do now, let me make this promise. If you do ask a question in the Q&A, I am sure that we can find a way to get that answer back out to you through Tamara. Sharonda, thanks again for creating a creative format. And Rudy, I am going to turn it back over to you, my friend.
Laura, great panel discussion, a lot of information, good stuff regarding there. One of the things that we talk about often, though, is how can the local governments and entities partner with the state on a variety of different issues. And what you're about to see and hear from is someone who I consider a friend and mentor, Commissioner Aaron Demerson, regarding what TWC is doing to make sure that what we're doing here isn't just something that's going to be for a little bit, but lasting in our region.
It's great to be here as we participate in the growth and refinement of the Capital Area Community Workforce Plan. As the Commissioner representing employers, I enthusiastically endorse the theme of this summit. When we help someone increase or gain new skills, more opportunities become available. Upskilled workers can gain higher earning power and a greater chance of job advancement, while the employers are better able to fill critical hiring needs and skill gaps. When we upskill the local workforce, we also raise the quality of life for children, youth, and family members, while increasing stability for businesses moving to Texas. Workforce Solutions Capital Area helps Central Texas companies identify and implement upskilling strategies, including those relocating to our great state. In 2021, Workforce Solutions recognized 6 employers as upskilling heroes for building a higher skilled workforce and a more competitive economy through upskilling strategies. Those employers are Greystar Real Estate Partners, Recover or Sacrifice Everything Counseling Center, Samsung Austin Semiconductor, Seedling Gardening, Total Care Provider, and Wells Solar and Electrical Services. And so I'd like to encourage all employers in the Capital Area to join the many partners who support and benefit from the Capital Area Workforce Solutions Program. Check out this video on upskilling heroes.
Upskilling can help us combat the skills gap while retaining our current workforce.
So we're really looking to hire individuals that are green and don't have the certifications or the training that we're needing, because we can provide all of that.
The general benefit that we see across our entire company, the better service, the more skills that we give our employees, the better off everyone, from the customer to the business owner, myself, to managers, to the guys working in the field growing these skills. Everyone benefits.
The biggest benefit I've seen is just the excitement when people learn new skills.
We all know that hiring a new employee is way more expensive and time-consuming than retaining the existing workforce. With upskilling, we are thriving to cut those costs while retaining our workforce.
It's important for us to partner with Workforce Solutions because they are the hub of our employment ecosystem. Their ability to connect us with training providers that meet our upskilling needs is very valuable for businesses like ours.
Great video and great information. You know, one of the cool things about, what we're talking about, hire local, hire all around, or as I like to call it, Workforce Solutions Live, is that sometimes we get people who are just going to stop by to step. And so you just saw that great video from Commissioner Aaron Demerson. And who happens to walk in the room? The commissioner himself, it's Aaron Demerson.
Really delighted to be here today. And let me first of all just say thanks to Adisa Communications. Whenever you come into a room like this and you see what's happening in front of the screen, it's something pretty amazing. So behind the scenes, there's great production that's taking place. We appreciate Sharonda and Adisa Communication. Also, Tamara Atkinson, you're raising the level, raising the bar from that standpoint. And all of the other 27 other Workforce Solution boards will be looking at this as well. And then Melanie, thank you so much for your work as well, serving as board chair as well. And lastly, let me just thank our MC for today, Rudy Mateo. Rudy, thank you for what you're doing day in and day out. And that burpee challenge is spot on. So we'll do that. You'll probably beat me in that regard. But we are excited here today. Internships, apprenticeships, the panel that was just held, Laura Huffman and the team. We have some exciting things to happen here in Austin. And I always say, when you bring together the worlds of workforce, economic development, and education, we're on our way to success. And so, Tamara, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for all you do. And let's continue to make progress, and let's continue to make a difference. Back to Rudy.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the kind words. Now that burpee challenge, I don't know. We'll see who can do what over here. And then, and be honest with you, Melanie will probably kick both our butts. But now, today, one of the things that I want to call to is what we're talking about is a call to action. You heard today from Richard Gergasco from Texas Mutual Insurance Company telling us why he chose Workforce Solutions as the first grantee. You heard from Melanie Flowers and why she's a board chair and what she sees in Workforce Solutions and what she sees the need and desires for the community when it comes to development and the skill set necessary for not just the jobs now, but the jobs in the future. Heard from Workforce Chairman Brian Daniel, who took us to higher levels regarding positive job news across the state of Texas and introduced us to an excellent program being done by Workforce Solutions at 93% of an employment rate. You heard from our Travis County judge, Andy Brown, and his very interesting attire and looking at a higher level and horizon for not just the city of Austin, but for the entire region when we're talking about some of the challenges that we need to make sure that we address so that we're able to go ahead and make sure that all of us prosper in all the great things that we have when we have the magnetic office and the growth and the strength that we have here in the region. You heard from Veronica, from Mayor Steve Advocacy, talking about some disparities that she's seen when it comes to younger Black and Hispanic workers. She stressed the importance of education and skill training in hopes of raising all opportunities for everybody involved in our region. You heard from Tamara, the big honcho, who gave us insight as to that 2017 workforce plan and how its implementation has revitalized a lot of different areas and a lot of different people in hopes and secures about what can we do as a community, what can we do to make a discernible difference, and how we're making sure that workforce needs are addressed. You heard from Laura Huffman, and I've got to say that panel discussion, very insightful and amazing in what we're talking about when we're talking about the needs and concerns. Something that stuck out for me from that talk is that it's just as important to give people jobs that they can go ahead and produce to make sure they produce for their families, but also just important that they're proud of the jobs that they're in, that they're proud of their region that they're in for, and they're proud of how they're able to conduce with the community in general. Along the way, we've asked you to answer a variety of different unique and interesting questions and perspectives. You haven't done some already. Communicate right now your thoughts to a simple survey provided at the link above. We need to hear from you as a community to try to serve us. We think that we may have one final surprise for you at the end of this summit.
Good afternoon again. We're happy to rejoin you. I'm Veronica Briceño again with the City of Austin. America's Recovery Fund provides funding to help America's businesses to retain and rehire staff, pay rent, and adapt to new requirements. The fund also prioritizes equity, ensuring no one is left behind as our community moves forward.
Thanks. I just got out of my landing attire and I'm back here in my office. Good to see y'all again. Workforce Solutions experience validates that for every dollar invested in jobs, training, and job supports, we return $3.59 to our community in the form of wage gains.
We are therefore pleased to announce the City of Austin and Travis County have joined forces to grant millions of dollars in new resources through the America Recovery Fund to Workforce Solutions Capital Area. These funds will provide scholarships for job training, scholarships for childcare, transportation support, access to apprenticeships, and critical career guidance to COVID-impacted workers in our region. We are grateful for the sustained and productive relationship with Workforce Solutions that enables us to get the resources to the people and businesses in need as quickly as possible.
And this announcement comes thanks to the tireless effort on the part of Travis County and City of Austin staff, Workforce Solutions staff, and especially the Workforce Solutions Board of Directors for making these grants possible. This infusion of funding goes to the heart of the equitable economic recovery by getting job training opportunities to those most in need of them. This summit is the ideal moment to celebrate this investment in the capital area. As we've seen this afternoon, Austin is well positioned to use these funds wisely and effectively.
Thank you for your interest and support in the Austin area workforce development. When we support efforts to hire locally, opportunity truly is higher all around. Thank you, and I will now turn it back over to Tamara.
All right, everyone. We are at the end of our program. We are so grateful that you stuck around with us. Don't leave yet because we still have another musical act to entertain you. I want to express my gratitude to everyone who made today so positive and productive. Thank you first and foremost to our elected leaders in our community. Thank you. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Thank you to our board of directors. I'm so grateful for all of the time and energy you put into making Workforce Solutions and our community great. Thank you to all of our speakers today. Thank you, Laura Huffman, for your amazing moderation of the panel. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you, Chair Flowers. And I'd love to invite my friend Rudy to come back here with me. Rudy, you can stand on the stool if you want to, but I want to say thank you very much, Rudy, for being our amazing MC. To the staff, to Adisa Communication, to everyone involved, thank you. Let's hire local because we're hire all around and we do. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be hanging out with you all today. Thank you so much for joining in with us. I'm Lex Land. I'm one of your local Austin musicians. I know Austin holds a special place in all our hearts, and I wanted to provide this last little song to close us out to help remind us that we can all work together in harmony for the better days that are coming. I'll shout it out, I'll say the words, cry it out loud, there are better days ahead. Look at me now, free as a bird, got faith in how there are better days ahead. It's sadly true, I've paid my dues and known some worse at times, but here I am, I've made it through and I'm leaving them behind, so here's my new tune. I'll sing it night and noon, alone or for you, there are better days ahead. I've come back from the darkest night, but now I'm sure I've seen the light. I'm shouting out, there are better days ahead. It's sadly true, I've paid my dues and known some worse at times, but here I am, I've made it through and I'm leaving them behind, so here's my new tune. I'll sing it night and noon, alone or for you, there are better days ahead. I've come back from the darkest night, but now I'm sure I've seen the light, so I'm shouting out, there are better days ahead. I'm shouting out, there are better days ahead.
Hey, whoa up there, Space Cowboy. Why don't you come back down on the ground? We need to roll our sleeves up. We've got some work to do together.
Hey down there, Melanie and Rudy. You wouldn't believe what I can see this high up.
Like you're up in the air and you're in a hot air balloon.
Do you want to sway? Can we sway? Woo! You can see our house, I think, is way over there. There's some dogs and cats over there. Some birds flying around.
I'm gonna be down there. Yeah, we're gonna show you a picture of the hot air balloon as soon as we get it.
Stand up real quick.
Yeah.
Just gonna take our picture.
You ready? Okay, there's the hot air balloon on the picture.
Then stop and you. Hey, you got all.
Check out this video on upskilling heroes. One more, check out this video. Check out this video on upskilling heroes. Check out this video on upskilling heroes. Check out. Let me do one more, just in case. Check out this video on upskilling heroes.
Our Texas unemployment rate is less than it was.
Thank you. Thank you so much.